These researchers at the University of Minnesota have discovered a new pandemic. They say that whiteness is a pandemic. Quote, the centuries-old culture of whiteness features colorblindness, passivity, and white fragility, which are all covert expressions of racism common in the United States. Whiteness is a pandemic, like it's spreading.
This has got to be somebody trolling.
No, this is real, man. At the University of Minnesota, they did this. And then they had the nerve to interview for their research only about 400 people who are all Minnesotans, all white, all liberals with college degrees, making between $125,000 and $150,000 a year. I don't even know what they're interviewing them and asking them, but I mean, you can go back to some of this, and when you start talking about white fragility, that one always, I'm like, so you mean to tell me, like, you're sitting down interviewing somebody and be like, hey, if I say that people who look like you suck, how does it make you feel? And you'd be like, well, I don't like that. They're like, okay, white fragility. Yeah.
We kind of do.
Yeah. Or they're saying that, but then they wouldn't be fragile. Yeah. I mean, they're claiming white fragility is one of these things. Passivity. I just don't understand. So you're telling me.
Give me your coffee.
But this is saying not doing. Yeah. Like I can take things from you. So they're racist. I mean, this whiteness is fragile and passive. I mean, this is bullshit, man. Like, it doesn't even
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like they're trolling. It sounds like they're making fun of white people.
It doesn't even fit the description that you claim to be saying, but they go on. I mean, this stuff is pretty ridiculous.
Well, so they call it a pandemic now. Is it contagious?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. There's nothing.
Can black people get this, or is it they're not? They
probably
they're
could.
immune. They're immune to it.
But so here's what I'm saying is when Trump wins 2 out of the last 3 elections, and you constantly hammer home to the party that we have voted for our whole lives, Democrats, and say, hey, y'all, I don't think that's the way to go. This is that. But have you still not figured it out? You can't keep attacking every white person in the country and then look up and say, oh, we lost the election, told you. You're pushing them in that direction. When you start saying, come on, that they're fragile. I mean, what the hell are we talking about here? Passive? But you're claiming that, essentially that whiteness is violent and a problem and, and hateful.
And oppressive.
And oppressive, but they're passive. I mean, like it sounds.
They're passive and oppressive.
It sounds like you're just trying to attack. It feels to me like it's this vindictiveness to go back and say, well, they did something to someone else, and we have sort of an opening, a free reign to do the same thing that we claim that we saw them do. And all of a sudden, it looks like these folks, like the researchers and other people, pundits in the media, folks who want to push all this stuff, it looks to me like they're enjoying it. Like they got a taste of it. The thing that they claim to hate, racism, suddenly they had an opportunity to be racist and they fucking love it, man. They're like, well, I don't want to stop doing it. I'm going to keep talking bad about white people. You can't call this research. It's a theory. You made a statement. It's a political statement. It's not research. Like you found it. Like there's something happening. And
pandemic. That's a weird way to describe it too. A pandemic,
man. You think they're going to have a where you can get a vaccine?
A vaccination for
that Johnson & Johnson, get you 2 shots and then you can get rid of that whiteness.
Yeah.
I don't know. You wake up in the morning and be like, man, I got a case of whiteness, man. You think they're going to shut down the economy?
Well, wouldn't that, if you came to get your vaccine, wouldn't that prove your passivity?
Or something? No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they went so far. Here's another quote from them here. They said, this is them justifying what they've done. Naming the whiteness pandemic shifts our gaze from the victims and effects of racism onto the systems that perpetuate racism, starting with the family system. I mean, this is getting nasty. These resources are directed at Caucasian people, as the researchers claim that children growing up in white families are socialized into harmful, racist ideologies. God, dog.
Man, I don't believe any of that's true.
Have you ever heard anything more racist in your life? They just openly said that growing up in a white family makes you terrible and we need to save you. Mm-hmm. Like, can you imagine saying that about any other people on this planet and calling it research that was paid for with public money at a public university in Minnesota? Dear God, people, What have we fallen down to? And again, then you be like, oh, I don't know how we lost this election. It's because they're racist. It's like, well, no, I mean, maybe calling people names and playing identity politics is just not the way to go, because this ain't research. This is politics. This is bullshit right here. And
it seems flimsy.
And it starts to feel, to me, just vindictive. It's like, again, I think people got addicted to it. Like there was an opening after George Floyd and during the pandemic where it was like, you can say whatever the hell you want about white people and ain't nobody gonna stop you. And man, they were like, man, this feels good. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, see, you're doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you fell in love with the thing, you know, that you claim to be trying to stop. That's not, and, you know, if it was a comedy skit, okay, you know, maybe a little lazy, you know, because I enjoy racial comedy. I grew up watching Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, and you know what I mean? I like that. But this isn't that. This is academics. This is people claiming that they use their education to come to the fact that there's a white pandemic. Can you imagine saying that there's a pandemic of any other race? I ain't even gonna say none because it sounds terrible to say it.
Right.
You know, like, oh no, they're spreading.
Nah, you wouldn't do that.
Man, come on. This is, yeah, you're a racist. No, you're crazy. I mean, that's pretty much all America's got going on right now. It's just, that's what we need to be talking about. I mean, I just don't understand what's the get? What's the get here? You know, just get a bunch more white people be like, yeah, I'm
show me the vaccine. Yeah, so the only way you could, like, this is not true at all, but one of the ways you can prove a pandemic is by creating a vaccine that cures the pandemic, right? If it's a virus or some sort of contagion, you isolate the contagion and then you're able to relieve the contagion. You're going to have to prove that to me. You're going to.
It sounds like they're saying if you snatch these white kids out of their house and get them away from their family, then they won't catch a case of whiteness.
But didn't they do that in the past in like the Inuits of Canada or something like that?
Don't know.
Didn't they snatch them out of their homes and force them into? I think they did
horrible.
it. Yeah.
Oh no,
they can't do that.
No, that's what I'm saying, man. This is all bad. I just can't. It's like you try to wrap your mind around it and be like, where are they coming from?
And what's the solution? What solution are they proposing?
And man, and here's the thing. Like I grew up, I talk about this all the time, growing up in a otherwise all black neighborhood. All my friends were black. Everybody around the black neighborhood was black. 3 years in my elementary school, I was the only white kid in the school. And I've never attached to whiteness. But when people are like, so aggressively anti-white people, which seems arbitrary because they're not naming names. They're just saying your skin looks like this. So suddenly, boom, boom, boom. I feel that a little bit of defensiveness, you know, where I'm like, whoa. I didn't do nothing. Right. What are you talking about? And then
I don't want to be defensive.
And so then I take that on and I say, well, this surely is pushing, you know, if I, as much as I don't attach to it, surely this is pushing people away. Surely there are people who are like, well, bump that. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody's listening to that anyway. Nobody's nah.
Well, but there are definitely people who want to hear this, you know, because it further justifies them being like, I knew you was going to say that about me. I mean, you remember when the Smithsonian came out back during the pandemic talking about all these descriptions of white people and they eat bland food. They don't like flavor on their food.
Yeah.
Some racist. What are you talking about? Like who wrote that? And it was okay somehow or another for at least a minute until people were like, and, you know, when would you sit down and be like, I'm going to describe a race? Like at some point we got to realize that y'all having too much fun with white people, man. You better stop, man, because that's how we ended up with Trump. Stop this junk, man. It's not helping. If it was working, it would have worked by now. And it looks like it's a full blown failure. Like pull the white people in. You know what I'm saying? Start telling them, ain't no difference between us. Like they said on here that one of the signs of whiteness is colorblindness, you know, because they'll be like, well, I don't even see color. And I understand the academic understanding of, well, you should see color and this, that. Yes, they're full of shit. They definitely see color. But what do you think they want to say to you? You know, you get the point of what they're saying is I don't try to treat people differently.
Right.
And you're demonizing that. You're literally, it's like basically you asked white people questions and no matter what answer they gave, you're like racist. Right? Like, oh, well, that's a description of racist. There is no white answer you could give at that point. You know what I'm saying? If you're a white person and be like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? I'm going to talk a bunch of shit about you. How you like that? I don't like it. You're fragile, which is a sign of racism. Like, God, dog, man, like chill out. Ain't nobody.
Yeah.
I really think this all boils down to what I was saying. I could be wrong, but I think folks got a taste of what it's like to be openly racist, and they haven't figured out how to let go of it yet. They're like, oh, man, I can say all this stuff about white people and get away with it. And they're like, oh, man, it feels great. And it's like, see, you have become the thing you claim to hate. Don't do that. Don't do that. Make you feel good about yourself. Be like, I can write a research paper hating on white people. Dear God, call it a pandemic. Call it a pandemic.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
A disease, essentially, is what you're saying. Like whiteness is a disease. Maybe I just haven't seen Whiteness. Maybe I just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, maybe it's up there in Minnesota. Maybe hasn't spread down here yet.
It ain't in Minnesota, dog. Ain't nothing but Somalis in Minnesota. You know it. They changed their state flag. Look like the Somali flag. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, bruh. Somalia should be suing them for copyright infringement. Minnesota tripping, man. They're just like little Somali right here.
Yeah, and that's what Trump was getting on to.
He said he gonna start deporting all them Somalis from Minnesota, man. Like it's getting rough over there, but that don't mean you gotta come after all the people with white skin. I don't even consider myself like a white person. I don't even like that word. I have white skin, okay? That's all I got. I ain't got nothing in common with none of these people. I ain't been to no white meeting. We ain't getting no white newsletter.
They hit the term hasn't even been around that long, like a couple hundred years, 150 years.
Yeah, they said for centuries. They were getting a little loose there. Yeah, I think,
not centuries.
All this racial stuff, I think it was maybe in the 1400s. There was somebody in Europe that hired somebody to write a book, and that's sort of where people trace it to the beginning. But I mean, come on. It all comes down to like America and the Civil War and that's when it all really got racialized. Yeah. And then, you get into the Southern strategy, which is what it seems like, liberals and academics are hoping they can do, is try to use identity politics to divide and conquer and pull people in. But all they've done is push people out. Clearly, it's not working. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Make a white friend. Damn. And then ask them, like, if I talk all this junk about you, how do you feel? And give them a second. Look in their eye, because they fixing to lie to you. They're going to be like, it's okay. Like, but you hear it in their voice. You'd be like, it's not okay. Ain't nobody trying to be talked about like that just because you was born the way you look. I mean, that's what gets me about the modern day Democrat compared to the way we grew up as Democrats. I thought we was trying not to do this. I mean, I swear we were like, hey, man, we all people, man, let's get along. And now all of a sudden that is not what seems to be jumping out on the page as a whole bunch of, no, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it all day, every day. Now, you can't talk about me. I can talk about you. And it's like, well, I didn't want to talk about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we doing this? This is all bad. It's all bad. That's America in a nutshell right now. All bad. Ain't nothing good happening. That's how you going to end up with the next Trump, though. You keep on doing that junk.